It's Iron Maiden right here on your classic metal show with The Prisoner. A great tune.
That's a good one, man.
That whole CD is awesome.
As are most Iron Maiden CDs, really.
No, well, that was the, well, that's subjective, but that was the first one with Dickinson.
Yeah.
And, you know, Iron Maiden is, they defy, I guess that's the word, defy a band that isn't, you know, popular on the radio.
Right.
But yet worldwide they have acclaim, and pretty much anywhere they go, they sell out their shows.
It is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. When they come here to Chicago, I've gone to see them probably 3 times here in Chicago.
Right.
Every show is sold out.
Yeah.
And they don't get any commercial airplay.
None. Even when they're in town, they get no commercial airplay.
I mean, that's a huge feat.
It is.
Now, what is it about Iron Maiden that allows them to have the following that they do without the commercial backing?
Integrity, greatness. You know, I mean, they're one of those bands, dude, that has such an elite early catalog, like Metallica, like Megadeth, like, you know, a lot of those bands, Rolling Stones, you know, a lot of those bands have such an elite early catalog that anything that they do after doesn't really matter. They've got metalheads for life. Judas Priest, you know, and for Iron Maiden, I mean, like you said, it's subjective, yes, and there are some that we like and there's some that we don't. But I mean, are there really any Iron Maiden albums where people are like, that is the worst piece of shit ever? Even the Blaze years, I think Maiden fans were like, not my thing, but, you know, not the worst thing ever.
But during the Blaze years, they might as well have been on hiatus.
True. Because, yeah, I mean, I saw them at the old Peabodys.
Yeah, they were at, I think they were at the Nautica stage.
Yeah.
With the Blaze lineup.
Yeah, with Dio.
And they didn't do very well.
No, the show was half full.
Mm-hmm.
And that was with Dio and Iron Maiden.
Right.
Yeah, and Monster Magnet.
No, that was when Bruce came back.
Was it? Who was the third band?
Well, it was Monster Magnet.
Not that one. The one with Blaze.
I'm trying to remember. That was like 96.
Yeah.
Right around there.
Yeah.
Trying to remember who it was, but they played at the Nautica stage in Cleveland, and they didn't do very well.
Right.
And I think they actually, when they came back around for the second release, they played the ballroom in Agora.
Right.
And that wasn't very big.
Yeah, and then Dickinson came back and they were big again.
Yeah, and you were very instrumental in getting me hooked up, little Mike and long-haired Mike and, you know, everybody hooked up with Iron Maiden.
Right.
For a meet and greet when they only did, they scheduled like 5 shows in the States.
Yep.
And Nautica was one of them, and it was sold out, and that was the whole Monster Magnet opening up for them.
Right. Yeah. And that was a fun thing, that meet and greet.
Yeah, and that's when Bruce went ballistic on that one guy who threw his beer up on the stage.
Right.
So that was cool. I really enjoyed that.
Sure.
And you know who the coolest guy out of the bunch was?
Who?
Nico McBrain.
Oh yeah, he's great.
He was really friendly.
Yeah, he's very friendly guy.
So
he's really nice. I'll tell you who was great was Rod Smallwood. Man, that guy, the manager guy.
Yeah, I didn't get to meet him.
He treated me like I was part of the team. He was just the nicest guy, man. He just took me backstage, you know, sat around, talked with me for a little while, introduced me to all the band guys. Then he's like, hey, you want to have dinner with the band? Come and have a seat. Here, we'll bring you a plate. He brought me a plate of food. I sat at the table having dinner with fucking Iron Maiden.
Yeah. Well, you were very instrumental in getting us hooked up for that.
Yeah, dude, that whole experience was one of the best ever. And I will say that, hands down, one of the top 3 experiences of being treated like a professional.
Sure,
ever.
sure.
Iron Maiden's fucking crew, very professional guys.
Yeah. That was a very big deal. I still got all my pictures from that and everything, and it was just a very cool deal.
It was. They treated everybody at the meet. And there was a lot of people at the meet and greet.
Yeah, there were.
And they treated everybody with respect.
And they took the time out to take pictures with everybody and signed everything. Remember, I know, God rest his soul, our good friend long-haired Mike, he brought every freaking single Iron Maiden thing he had with him.
Yeah.
And they signed everything.
Everything. Yeah, he was one of those guys I refer to as a douchebag. Dude, you know what? When you meet a band, think one, be happy with two.
Sure.
Do not bring three.
Yeah.
Don't even bring out the third album cover.
Yeah. Well, he brought the entire catalog and then some.
Exactly. Don't do that.
Yeah, but he did, and they signed everything.
Yeah, but a lot of guys won't. A lot of guys will be like, hey, fuckface, pick one. As they should. You're not so important that they're going to spend 10 minutes signing your bullshit.
Right.
Pick your favorite, have them sign it, take your little picture, move the fuck down the line. There's
Sure.
100 people behind you.
Right.
And there's 4 million people that want that same opportunity. So fucking appreciate it and stop being a fucking hoarder dickhead. That makes me, and nothing against Mike, but Mike was one of them. And I hate when, dude, you remember when I brought Union in for a meet and greet?
Yeah, they were at the Ron's Crossroads.
I think you were at that.
I was there.
Do you remember the guy that brought a box? This guy showed up for the meet and greet with a fucking box.
Right.
A big fucking box full of Motley Crue shit.
Sure.
And Kiss shit.
Right.
And he wanted them to sign everything. And I literally fucking said to the guy, I said, dude, take that fucking box back to your car.
Right.
Because we were all standing outside waiting to get in. And this guy had this big box, and I looked in the box and I said, what do you got? And he's like, I got all this stuff for them to sign. I was like, dude, seriously, take the box back to your car. Take a couple things, you'll get them signed. And then right at that moment, Karabi came out.
Right.
And Karabi, you've met John, haven't you?
Yes. I just saw him in September. I hung out with him and his son back in September.
Right. Yeah, so he's like the nicest guy
Very
ever.
nice.
And Karabi came over and was like, hey, what you got there? And he looked in the box. And then Karabi was like, yeah, I'll sign all this shit. I didn't care. But I was like, dude, don't insult these guys. Don't treat them like they're a fucking, your puppet to do your bidding. They're signing stuff out of courtesy, out of fandom. To me, and maybe it's just me, and you're more of a collector than me, so tell me if I'm wrong. But you don't need everything signed.
Yeah, whenever I've gotten things signed, and I do have plenty of stuff that's signed, it's usually 1 or 2 items.
Right. I mean, do you need to have every Testament record signed?
No.
Or whatever band. It doesn't matter who it is.
Well, when I met Don the first time, back in 94, or actually it was 95.
Yeah.
I had one thing. I had Tooth and Nail.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah, and that's a respectable fan. You get that one. And then if you see him again, maybe you come with Under Lock and Key.
Sure.
Or maybe a poster. Or, one thing each time. Not fucking, hey, look, dude, I've got 400 fucking Dokken vinyls.
Yeah, I didn't bring my whole catalog. I did bring the Tooth and Nail. That was all I had. That's all I brought.
Yeah. Even that guy that travels all over the place to see Dokken that we met.
Yeah.
The Christoph, whatever his name
is.
Sure. That guy showed up at he's from Europe or something.
Yeah,
right?
he's from Europe, and he's got quote unquote the biggest Dokken collection that they're aware of anyway.
Right. And what did he show up with? Like 2 things.
Sure. And Don actually gave him his boots.
Yeah. But I mean, he showed up not with a box of shit. He had like 1 or 2 things. It's like, here, I've got this rare thing, sign this. And then he had this other thing, sign that. And that was it. He was happy. And this guy made a trap. This guy probably paid $10,000 to fucking get there.
Yep.
And he didn't hoard. So, don't show up at the shows acting like a douche.
Well, because of Don's respect for that guy.
Yeah.
When we were in Wisconsin, Don had these Harley boots that he had for almost 20 years.
Right.
That he wore to almost every gig.
Right.
He gave them to that guy.
Wow. Well, that guy is like.
So that guy walked away with Don's boots that Don wore for 20 years.
Wow. That's awesome. So good.